I will try to rank the albums of thrash metalers from Canada Annihilator from worst to best. And I have to say that this is one of my favorite Canadian thrash metal bands. There are many people that speak about the big four of Canadian thrash metal, and together with Annihilator, they will put Sacrifice, Voivod, or Razor. But if we speak about Canadian thrash metal, or together with Annihilator, together with Sacrifice, together with Voivod, and together with my beloved Razor, we have also to put Slaughter and also Exciter. Maybe they were even more speed metal, and even the proto thrash metal Anvil. They were the big thrash Canadian bands in these days. So Annihilator, in any case, is the most famous band of all these. They sold until now more than 3 million discs and CDs in all albums in all the world, worldwide. Annihilator started in 1984. The people that started the band were Jeff Waters, of course, the guitarist, the main guitarist, and John Bates, if I prefer his name correctly, as the first singer. From then until now, they have 17 studio albums, but we have also to say that Annihilator is very close to be one man's band. Especially is the band of Jeff Waters. And Annihilator is Jeff Waters, and Jeff Waters is Annihilator. And not only that, we can see that they changed so many members in all these years. For example, 8 singers, 6 rhythm guitarists, 9 bassists, and 11 drummers in all these years. And one of the reasons that the band maybe is not so popular even more is because of these all-time changes of the members of the group. Inside the group, we can find some. Most of the time they play thrash, speed metal, but they have some influences from industrial in one album of them. Some influences of heavy metal and of groove metal in some other albums of them. Now, only to understand, they had as we say 8 singers, from John Bates, after Dennis Dubbow, after Randy Rampage, Coburn Farr, Aaron Rantal, Jeff Waters. Also, Randy Rampage came back afterwards. Randy Rampage, he died in 2018 from a heart attack in age of 58. Rest in peace. Joe Cameo for 2 albums. Dave Banton for 5 albums and for 10 years. And today also Jeff Waters is for the second time the singer of the band, except of he's the main guitarist. Okay, so let's start about their albums. So in the last 17 place, I will put their 6th album of 1997, Remains. Here, this is a proper solo work album of Annihilator. Here is only Jeff Waters, and here we can find many industrial metal influences in this album. And yes, this is the most not Annihilator album in all their history. Let's say that this was a very difficult period for the personal life of Jeff Waters, with a very difficult divorce. So we can understand the situation of this album, unfortunately. In the 16th place, their 14th album of them of 2013, the album by the name Feast, with so good artwork, but the album is very, 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 is not the good Annihilator that we know them, unfortunately. 15th place, their 12th album of 2007, Metal, by the name Metal, and also Jeff Waters, he said that this album, it was a little bit even better because of the guest appearances of many metal musicians in this album. For example, here we have ex-members of In Flames, of Arch Enemy, of Nevermore, for example, of Envy, Trivium, Lamb of God, The Haunted, Exciter. They came as a guest appearance in this album. 14th place, their 10th album of them of 2004, the most melodic album until now of Annihilator, by the name All For You. Okay, it's very, very melodic, even more melodic from Set the World on Fire. 13th place, an album that is not bad, but also not so good. I'm speaking about the 13th album of them of 2010 by the name Annihilator. 12th place, one album that many people that they like Annihilator liked also the album. Their 15th album of 2015, Suicide Society. It's a good album, especially that came out after the album Feast. Now, in the 11th place, their last 17th album, Ballistic Sadistic. Many people like the album, and also it's a good thrash album with many solos. It's okay, but the problem with this album, in my point of view, is that Jeff Waters took many old riffs of his songs and put them also in this album. For example, I like very, very much the song Night Jumps Queen from Set the World on Fire. We can find the same riff in another song here, unfortunately. The album of 2020, their last album. Now, in the 10th place, their 16th album of 2017, and for me this is the best album of the last period, For the Demented, with also a very good cover art. In the 9th place, one of my beloved Annihilator albums, and many people, they didn't know this album, and it's a pity. And I'm speaking about their 11th album of 2005 by the name Schizo Deluxe. Very, very, very good album. Unfortunately, many people, they don't know very well this album. 8th place, the comeback album of 1999, Criteria of a Black Widow, when Renty Rampage also sang in this album. You can see that they brought Alice as their mascot also in the cover art. 7th place, a very good also album. This is the album that continues the work of King of the Kill. Speaking about their 5th album of 1996, Refresh the Demon. And now, 6th place, the second and last album with Joe Cameo as their singer. The 9th album of them of 2002, Walking the Fury. a very also good album. A little bit more groove, but very good. 5th place, their first album that I listened from them, their third album of 1993, set the world on fire, and also is a very, very melodic album. Here also I said that it has the song Night Jumps Queen. That's also my favorite Annihilator song until now. 4th place, the first album with Cameo as a singer, Carnival Diablos. This is the 8th album of them of 2001. A great thrash groove album. This is also the real cover art. Great album. And now, 3rd place, and I know that some people will say to me, why you will put this in 3rd place and not even in the 2nd place? And I'm speaking about their 2nd album of 1990, Never Neverland. And I know many people prefer this album as their best album of Annihilator. But in any case, in the 2nd place, I will put one of my favorite metal albums of all time. And I'm speaking about the 4th album of 1994. Jeff Waters is the first time that he's the singer in this album, King of the Kill. And I like here every song, from the beginning, the box, until the last song, but side, everything here is perfect. But in the 1st place, of course, the debut first album of 1989, Alice in Hell. And of course, the first time Alice with her doll, they are the mascot of the band in the cover art. But here also, every song here, Crystalline, Alice in Hell, Burns Like a Buzz So Blade, World Salad, Schizos Are Never Alone, and etc. etc. Here, every song is so great. Real thrash speed metal. So, from Jerusalem and from Israel, stay metal and stay heavy.